I don't have any tooth. I'll admit it. I will brag. Those players did not just go and whip that ass for us to be like, oh, good game. No, we whipped your ass. We took $800,000. Now we're partying with it.
Yeah, who cares if you're in the Power 5 conference if you don't win it ever, or you don't beat any of the teams in it? Like, what's the point of that? Wouldn't you rather win the conference and say, like, hey, my team is good, than lose the conference and say, well, our conference is good?
Well, I tell you what, I got two teams that got me gassed up. It's going to be a hell of a battle. Be like two dogs fighting over a milk bucket.
Look, they don't call me Tip for nothing. And my tip is, look out for the group of 5 this season. They've been taking it to the Power 5 year after year.
The only quarterbacks that ever get any love are from the Power 5. I could easily list off the top group of 5 quarterbacks I would rather have than those guys. I would be willing to bet that at least one of them is going to be in the running for the Heisman this year.
Down the middle, James, the lateral to the corner of the end zone. Can you believe that?
Welcome in, everybody. Group of 5 Guys, the podcast. Week 0 in the books. Week 1 coming up. Group of 5 guys travel to Boone, North Carolina this weekend in what should be an incredible, incredible time. If you guys like the show, you like what you see, like what you hear, make sure you hit like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Group of 5 Guys. And I know we do have another voicemail tonight, but make sure you guys call that hotline, talk your trash, give your picks, predictions, bets, whatever you want to do. It's 615-900-4286. We are down a man. Zeke Anderson is out tonight. Well wishes to him and Olivia. They've got a family thing to deal with tonight, so shout out to them. Hope everything's going well. We'll go around the horn, see how the rest of the boys are doing. I'll go with Jesse Grisham, Larry the Cable Guy. How are you?
I am sporting my Boone casual wear. I feel like this. I'm at words to the game. Doing well. Week 0. I left all of our followers and fans hopefully satisfied. Just to also reconfirm that I don't know jack shit about football because everything I did this past weekend I was incorrect on. Heck, even North Texas, the guy that I said was going to start at quarterback, he didn't even start. And the guy that did play is like the conference player of the week. So really, really interesting week 0. But we're hard on ourselves. Week 0 is really, really, really hard to, evaluate. Some guys are still going through fall camp, Sprouse. So even though Charlotte did get dismantled, destroyed, embarrassed, dragged upon the field, limbs torn apart, they could probably come back this week, and Will Healy will definitely get those guys, shape back up. Glad to be here, though, Sprouse. Excited to get to Boone, North Carolina this weekend to watch our App State Mountaineers take on North Carolina, who did not look that great against Willie Simmons, Florida. Where is that? Florida A&M? That is?
FAMU.
Yeah. FAMU. That's either going to be good for App State because now North Carolina, they might be a little gun shop. Oh, God, we got App State next week. Or that was a good tune-up game for North Carolina. They're going to come in more prepared. So be fun. I'm excited.
Ain't no doubt about it. Yeah. A lot of bad weather this weekend, too. A bunch of the games got delayed, so that could have been a factor in some of the week 0.
How long did that game get delayed? Because I was really confused. Because I saw Saturday morning they were all warming up. Was that like a 6-hour delay or 7-hour delay?
You talking about the North Carolina
FM?
I don't know. That one was, but FAMU, like as of Friday night, wasn't even going to play. They were down 29 scholarship guys, which I don't know how many they get at FAMU, but yeah, I don't know. That game was delayed. North Texas, UTEP was delayed. I think the Florida State Duquesne game was delayed. There was a bunch, but anyway.
Y'all seen the highlights that Duquesne?
Yes, with his high waters on. Yes, I saw.
He's probably a beast.
Respect,
bro. Respect.
Anyway, let's keep going. Tyler Tipton, it's good to see you. How are you?
Great to see you too, Sprouse. I'm doing fantastic, boys. What are some great games in week 0? I mean, it was so exciting to be able to just sit there on Saturday and just watch college football again. I've missed it. I know we've all missed it. So excited to recap these games from week 0 and ready to talk about these week 1 games coming up.
Yeah, it's there's so many good non-conference Group of 5 versus Power 5, Group of 5 on Group of 5 games to talk about. I mean, it's a big week one. Great slate of games. Jeff Murphy, as always, handling the audio video. How are you?
Could be better, boys. Week 0's in the books. Pretty good weekend. One of the big questions was, how was Brent Dearman and Nkosi Perry going to match up, and what was he going to do? I said they looked pretty good, but, never as good as you think, never as bad as you think. A lot of those games could have been a lot closer or just kind of got away, but just pumped to have college football back. We got App State this weekend. We're going to be in Boone. That's going to be incredible. And I actually will be traveling on Saturday, shortly after we do some tailgate walking and talking, going up to James Madison to call the MTSU versus James Madison game in Harrisburg. So pretty excited about that. Get to call my first college football game on the radio, WGNS.
That's awesome.
So,
that's awesome, Jeff.
And, I'm just stoked for that environment. I heard one of my really good friends, Evan Hutto, went to school at James Madison. He said that stadium's going to be rocking, be ready. The faithful there, they show up and show out. So,
yeah, we never officially congratulated you on the air, Jeff, but congratulations.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about it. So, kind of sucks a little bit. I won't be able to travel as much, with you guys, but I'm still hitting the pavement hard, boys and girls. Going to be going to these Group of 5 schools, taking pictures, taking videos, meeting the faithful, checking out tailgates. So, I'm going to be calling games for the Blue Raiders this year, and I'm fired up to kind of give back to the old alma mater and be able to do that. But make no mistake, I'm still a Group of 5 guy, and I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, so if you're a fan of anybody in Conference USA or anybody on Middle Tennessee's schedule this year, link up with Jeff Murphy on Friday night or Saturday morning or whenever you can. I'm sure he'd love to probably not grab a beer, but maybe grab a, Diet Coke with you and maybe have a
DC
cheeseburger.
I think you're going to be excellent at this, but my question, one, I know I could not do this because let's say it's a 14-14 ball game and then one of our quarterbacks just get toasted on a third long. I'm going to be able to like, damn it, I'm going to say it like that on the radio. How are you going to be able to prevent yourself from just letting something slip out of your mouth? Are you just going to have your thing muted until it's time to talk?
No, Grish, some of us just have a little bit of couth about us and understand the situation and be able to temper the emotions. And I'm just if that guy got toasted. Speaking of toast, you can get a great sandwich downtown Murfreesboro, Domenico's Italian Deli. So I got a lot of slide in there.
He's ready. He's ready, boys.
Yeah,
I'm game ready. I'm fired up. Let's go.
You allowed to? Because we're gonna pick this middle James Madison game. Are you allowed to make a pick, or you got to be
He's
like
not Kirk Herbstreit going to?
Of course I can.
Maybe he is. Yeah,
a little better than anything.
He chooses MTSU every week anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's very true.
Look, let me tell you, Chase Cunningham's going to lead the Blue Raiders against the Dukes.
Oh man, well yeah. Like we talked about, we got a good show for you. We're gonna talk about week 0, top performances, top teams, top players. Then we're gonna go into week 1. We'll hit the Group of 5 versus Power 5 games first, and then we'll end the show with our top Group of 5 on Group of 5 games. Then we'll talk about players to watch. We did get a really good voicemail from our buddy Stu up in Boone, App State alumnus. Looking forward to seeing that guy. You guys are in for a real treat. Kick it with Stu and Tripp and some of those guys. But Murph, if you got that voicemail, let it ride.
Yeah, I got it queued up. And keep calling, guys. We need you to call in. We want to hear your opinion. Let us know what you think or talk some trash like Sprouse alluded to. But we got Stu's right on the voicemail.
Hey, guys. Stu's right from Twitter. Just wanted to say looking forward to seeing y'all in Boone this weekend. I can't wait to find something to tell Zeke to put his money where his mouth is for. Some takeaways from week 0. Western Kentucky and Utah State both looked pretty bad. The attendance at UTEP looked awesome. North Texas looked good. FAU looked great as long as they're not going for 2. Also, I wonder if anybody wants to take a show bet for when Appalachian beats Carolina this weekend, because NC State cancel at some point the 25 and 26 matchups they just announced. I don't think Dave Doran wants to play, and I think that if we beat Carolina, they're going to get scared and wind up buying their way out of the ball game. Anyways, can't wait to see y'all this weekend. Looking forward to drinking some beers with you, and go Apps.
Appreciate it, Stu.
Yeah, I mean he was pretty spot on. I mean I think that UTEP seems like a low key awesome place to go. I know the guy from College Football Tour always says UTEP's his favorite stadium, but it looked like I don't know what it seats, but it looked like they had a pretty good capacity crowd up there.
It did. It looked pretty packed. No, that's for sure. And actually, Middle plays at UTEP later in the season, so I'll get an opportunity to check that out, and I'll give a full report on it.
And Sprouse, watching, I'll admit I couldn't get to watch the game. I had to mainly just follow it. But seeing that score, even though I did choose UTEP to beat North Texas, I think it's pretty much solidified what we said about North Texas. Look out, Conference USA.
Yep.
That offense, even missing their, three or four receivers
out. Yeah.
They're going to be dynamite. Dynamite.
That was the only game that wasn't televised at all. That was the only game from the whole weekend, not on any network.
It was on Stadium. So if you could,
it was on
on
Stadium, which was non-HD. Which, if there's a channel out there that it might be the only channel left in existence that is non-HD. It was brutal to watch, but I mean, was able to watch it at least.
I'll say this: Gavin Hardison looked pretty good. I mean, he can.
Yeah, he did.
He can throw the ball. They just couldn't stop North Texas, man.
Yeah, and then Utah State, Western especially. Utah State kind of figured it out about halfway through that game, and shout out to their crowd too. Yeah. Their students that place looked awesome.
Micah always said that that they show up, and admittingly, because I didn't get to see a lot of their games last year. I mean, that student section, it looked like Penn State for sometimes to me. They had a little whiteout, and it was a lot of people there. I didn't see the number. I wanted to bet for first game, and it was like an early kickoff out in Mountain West. There had to be 30,000 there, and it was a good looking crowd there.
Yeah, I didn't see what the capacity was, but they were. I mean, they were loud. They had, that one interception late. That place went wild, and they figured it out. Bonner started to kind of calm down a little bit. They looked okay. They got the run game going a little bit. Their defense. Your boy Gervin Hall, Jess. I remember you talked about him in the Mountain West preview. Yeah. 2 sacks, 6 TFLs. So he had a good game.
And I know later in the show we're going to talk about top performances from week 0. I've got to just go ahead and give a shout out here to UConn. I know we give them a lot of crap, but the O-line for UConn beginning of that game was dominating, and they have a running back, Nate Carter, who is a beast. Look out for him potentially being in the NFL. The guy had like 190 rushing yards for like 20 carries.
That's a completely different team this year.
Yeah, Jim Mora's got them.
Dude, that guy's arms, like he looked like an NFL back there, and I was like, where'd this guy come from? He was making Utah State look foolish in the first half.
Honestly, I was really surprised, like that they were getting up front on defense. Utah State, they were getting manhandled, and I don't know if that's, you give all the credit to UConn's offensive line, or you get if it's split 50-50, but that worries me a little bit about Utah State now.
Week 0, but yeah, UConn came to play, and
week 0 or not, you getting manhandled up front.
Yeah,
that ain't because I'm not ready. That's I'm getting physically outplayed.
Happened to me a lot. Yeah, sometimes you're just not prepared.
You wonder if there was a little bit of like shell shock. They were like, oh damn, like these boys came to play.
Yeah,
I mean Utah State thought they were just going to dominate them. So.
At one point, like he had like 5 rushing yards, and he was like 30-yard run, 45-yard run, 25-yard. I'm like, good God Almighty.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to talk about Charlotte FAU a little bit here later on, but that was an interesting one. But I'm sure Stu enjoyed that. I'm sure the App State folks liked seeing Charlotte get beat like that. But
no doubt.
Thanks for the call, Stu. Again, y'all keep calling that hotline at 615-900-4286. Before we go any further in the show, a serious matter. We were made aware via direct messages on Instagram about a podcast from a couple weeks ago called Unnecessary Roughness. This guy, Brandon Walker, and this guy, Big T, decided that they wanted to take out an attack on the Group of 5 and even mentioned 3 specific teams by name. Jeff, if you got some of the clip, I'd like to let you play it here. Everybody just sit down where you're at. Try to remain calm. This is going to piss you off. Go for it.
I got 3 clips here, so I'm going to play them all through, and then let Sprouse have the floor.
So 5th on my list, you thought it was Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's just the Group of 5?
It's the entire Group of 5. We don't need them. I don't want them.
Yeah. Did you see the story came out that we might be heading towards that?
Yes, and I think it's awesome. I think.
Yeah. Well, first of all, so the one guy his name is Big T. The other guy's name is Brandon Walker. First of all, I saw Big Game Boomer was getting into a little Twitter battle with Brandon Walker. First of all, he needs to step away from the microphone. The guy sounds like he's swallowing the microphone every time he freaking talks. You're talking to a Mississippi State and a Tennessee fan here, saying to get rid of the group of 5. And then I don't think you have this clip, but they're going to go on later and say that, he's going to say we should shrink the Power 5 too. And then Brandon Walker's a little concerned about it. He says, "Oh, no, don't worry. You're a top half SEC school." And then they're bragging about this. Being in the top, imagine going through life being comfortable saying, "You know what? I'm average. I'm normal. I'm like everybody else," which is exactly what we've been trying to say, by the way, on this show, that these middle tier, bottom tier SEC schools are just average. They're just like everybody else. Go ahead and play the next clip.
This one hurts here.
Yeah, it does.
But I do genuinely. It was Colin Cowherd who famously said, "Middle Tennessee, who needs them?" Right on, brother. Take MTSU and launch it into the sun for all I give a shit.
Well, I think we are in an age of awakening where the 65 Power 5 teams are looking around saying, we can do this ourselves.
We
can keep all the money.
I would like to shrink the Power 5.
No, I don't.
Vanderbilt,
Be careful now.
See ya.
No, be careful. I'd rather that.
All right, and then one more.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a team I hated. There's no reason to hate them anymore. But I believe exactly what he says. B. Garbo says, it used to be fraud Boise State. They were so fraudulent. They had that one big win over a bad Oklahoma team, and then Kellen Moore was throwing against Wyoming all the time. I hated that Boise State team. I did not like when Boise State was good.
What other BCS games do they play in?
God, I can't wait to get to that point on that. But back to his MTSU and shrinking the Power 5. Okay, so right after that, they had a tweet from an ECU fan that said something about ECU. It was an ECU and NC State fan, and these two clowns get to talking about, oh, that's going to be a great game. What a fun game, ECU, NC State. And then he gets confronted by somebody in the background that's like, how are you going to say get rid of the group of 5 and then say ECU, NC State is a good game? He's like, oh, no. ECU, they'll be in the Power 5 by then. Jackass, you just said you're going to shrink the current Power 5. Now you're adding teams, which again proves the point. Mississippi State, Tennessee, regular old teams. ECU, regular old team. They're all the same. And then Boise State beat a bad Oklahoma team. What BCS teams have they played? God almighty. After that game was in 2006? Let me just list you off these. And keep in mind, all but 3 of these teams were ranked at the time of playing. And also, only, I believe, 3 of these games were bowl games. So these were like kickoff classics, ranked on ranked, home and away, neutral sites, whatever. Oregon. Remember, LeGarrette Blount punched a guy in the face because they lost. Oh, then the next year, Oregon again. Oh, then Virginia Tech. That was neutral site game at the Commanders Stadium. Oregon State. Georgia. That was not a bowl game. That was week 1 kickoff game, beat Mark Richt in Georgia. Arizona State, Washington, Arizona, and I know what you're thinking, Arizona, bad team. No, because that was the Fiesta Bowl. So that was a BCS game. Washington, Virginia, Washington State, Oregon again for the 3rd time. This is Justin Herbert's team, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Good Oregon team. And then Florida State. What? I mean, how many do you want them to beat? I don't know which ones they lost to, but they're well above 500. If not better than that. So they're fraudulent because they beat one bad Oklahoma team. You know what pisses me off the most about these freaking BCS, SEC type fans? They sit there and say this was a bad Oklahoma team. But I can guarantee you that before that game, they were sitting there saying, Boise State has no business playing Oklahoma, blah, blah, blah. This Oklahoma team, they should be playing for the national championship game, blah, blah, blah. Well, they didn't want to be there. That was a bad Oklahoma team. That wasn't a good Oklahoma team. Well, they were top 5 in the country. So everybody else is bad, which is fine if you want to say that. It's another thing we've been trying to say. There's 3 or 4 teams every single year that are really good, and everybody else is everybody else. Then later on, I know I'm rambling here, guys. Just stay with me. Then later on, they get to going and they say, in this same show here, if you listen, and I struggled through it, guys, because I had to keep turning my volume up and down because Brandon Walker was screaming into the microphone and the other guy's talking out of his ass. They sit there. They say, well, Tennessee and Mississippi State, we're not the ones chanting SEC, SEC. That's Georgia and Alabama fans. The hell it's not, because here you are bragging about being in the top half of the SEC, the almighty SEC. If you weren't bragging about your conference, you would sure as shit not be bragging about being top half of the SEC. I mean, I can't deal with it.
My Sprouse, for one, excellent.
I'm with you.
Second, though, one thing about this Big T and Brandon Walker, and something that drives me crazy about these two schlubs, I guarantee you they were average, if not best, mediocre, maybe didn't even play in high school football players, and they wanted to go play college football. They probably wanted to go play in the SEC. They definitely didn't get to go play in the SEC. But then yet, even the Southern Misses and the Delta States and the Tennessee, the Austin Peays and Tennessee States and Middle Tennessee, nobody looked at these guys. So they went to Mississippi State, they went to Tennessee, and they had this anger, this inner anger, like a lonely child that got abused, a long time ago. They hate these group of 5 schools. They think that they were better than these group of 5 schools. So now they go to UT and they just want to crap on players, coaches, fans for the quote unquote little guys. I can't stand it. I can't stand it one bit.
It's bad. And now I know why Big Game Boomer doesn't like you. And now I know why your own boss, Dave Portnoy, doesn't like you. I mean, it all makes sense. You listen to 5 minutes of an episode, and I mean, you're just like, good God, you're in a professional studio. You can't get your volume together. Here's Jeff Murphy is in a freaking closet, and ours sounds better than that with Amazon microphones and computers. This guy's got a freaking professional studio. They can't get their volume together. No facts, just baseless. That's typical Power 5, especially bottom feeder SEC fandom right there. It's Boise State hadn't played anybody since that. They beat one Oklahoma team and absolutely no idea about the rest of those games. That year in and year out, Boise State beats the hell out of them. It's no wonder the SEC keeps trying to go to Boise State to hire their coaches. You stupid ass. No wonder Boise State's last coach is at Auburn right now.
It would be one thing, Sprouse, if year after year the Power 5 just beat the group of 5 schools by 45 points every game. Last year, week 1, 5 group of 5 schools beat Power 5. There was 5 upsets. That's probably going to happen again this weekend.
Well,
I'm saying, the group of 5, as they're getting better, especially the transfer portal, that's why they want to cancel it, because now your Power 5 guys that aren't getting a shot are going to group of 5 schools, and then they're going to come and beat your ass the next year. It's probably worrying these Power 5 schools, especially the Tennessees of the world.
Well, it ought to worry Mississippi State because they play Memphis, who they lost to last year. And Tennessee, 2 years ago, lost to Georgia State. That same Georgia State team should have beat Auburn last year.
Well, is Tennessee even a top tier SEC team? I mean, that's what he said. But
he was
last time I checked. When has Tennessee been relevant?
State. Neither of them have been relevant.
That's my point. So that they're bragging about something that they're not. They're a middle to bottom feeder of the SEC. They're not like a top. We're the middle to top or whatever. They're not even anywhere near that. But top 5 recruiting class every year.
I got news for both of them, especially Tennessee. Them Vanderbilt Commodores are coming for that ass. I mean, my God, just honestly though,
I tried to tell y'all about Hawaii.
Well, yeah,
I tried to tell y'all.
No, Vandy's gonna for sure. They're gonna for sure get that 2.5 over because they'll be 2-0 after this week, and then they'll beat at least one SEC school, probably Tennessee, hopefully Tennessee.
That's after Ball State beats Tennessee.
Anyway, I usually like Barstool. I like most of the stuff Barstool does, but those two guys, good God, just
Agreed.
Sloppy.
Very sloppy.
Let's get off that. I don't want to give.
They could have been on there just to troll, and they
pub.
definitely sparked us.
Dude, well, yeah, and shout out to the guy we know as Redbeard, got in those DMs and just said, all he said was, unnecessary roughness last episode, go to 56 minutes. And I went to it, and I was in the car listening to it. I was getting road rage just listening to those two idiots talk because all their points were bad. Even their stuff about, everything. I mean, they were giving Notre Dame takes that were false, that were bad. Every take that they had on there, I was like, wrong, disagree. Every one of them.
It's all opinion,
Anyway.
no facts.
Week 0, guys. It was a good week. I enjoyed week 0. It was a nice little appetizer for what we got coming up this week. But I'm going to go around the horn here with you guys. Just give me your top performance. Could be a player, could be a team, could be, I mean, we already kind of talked about UTEP and Utah State's fans. But I'll go to you first, Jess. Give me your top performance from week 0.
Oh, well, I mean, it kind of already gave it to you. Mine's, even though it's not even really group of 5, it's just I feel like this guy needs to be recognized because I know ESPN won't do it. Nate Carter at UConn. I know it's an independent school, but the guy is going to have a hell of a season, it looks like. But again, with 190 rushing yards and 20 carries, running behind a good offensive line. I really, really enjoy watching that guy play. I'm going to go watch UConn again on TV this year just to watch him. So shout out to Nate Carter. Again, I know it's not group of 5 school. We've done a lot of
kind of.
We I know, but we've shat, if you will, on UConn in the past. But after that performance they did against Utah State, they deserve some recognition.
Yeah, hey, and by the way, guys, this is we've got a new little partnership with Prize Picks. So if you're into daily fantasy, you can get it. It's for all sports. We of course like it for college football, but you want to pick a couple players based on a stat line, hit an over or under for your entry. If you use the Group of 5 Guys code, which is real easy, GOFG, you'll get up to $100 first deposit match. So if you go in, you sign up for the first time, you deposit $100 to play with, they'll match that $100 for you. So you got $200 to play with for your first entry. Looking forward to it. I saw they got Ball State's quarterback at 0.5 touchdown passes Thursday night versus the Tennessee Volunteers, and I am taking the over 100% on that. But yeah, check out Prize Picks. If you go on our Twitter, we've got the link posted on there, and we'll be tweeting about it. I got to tell you guys this, and I hope I'm not, this might be stealing from Murph, but dude, UNLV looked pretty good. I mean, I know they weren't playing.
Me and Zeke tried to tell you guys.
No, and they got a turnover.
I'm not convinced. Week 0
turnover slot machine. Did you see that? They get the interception, they go over and hit the slots.
That's pretty tight.
I did not see that. That's
pretty
legit.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty
At least they're playing to their audience.
Yeah, they're playing for the Vegas. But their receiver, Ricky White, 8 catches, 182 yards, 2 teeters. So shout out to him. Hopefully we can shout out UNLV a lot more this season. But since I don't know that we will, shout out to him. And then also, you guys were texting me. My boy Evan Anderson down there at FAU is a freaking nightmare in the middle of that defensive line. He's a problem. He'll be playing in the NFL here in a couple years.
Yeah.
But that's what I got. Tip, what do you got?
Well, we briefly talked about it earlier in the show, but I was impressed with how good North Texas looked. That offense looked really good. Austin On looked really sharp, even with 4 wide receivers out against UTEP. I thought maybe that offense might start off slow this year just because, I mean, it's tough to, when you got guys like that, coming in, it can start off slow and take a few weeks. But they looked really good, and they're going to have a great year this season.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they I know we're saying we can't really judge week 0, but that really confirmed my belief in North Texas for the year in that conference, especially, as good as FAU looked, as bad as Charlotte looked. We know Conference USA is one of those where Charlotte could come back in 2 weeks and, beat UTSA or something, and you just never know with that conference. But Murph, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to actually stay there. FAU, I was really pleasantly surprised with how they looked on both sides of the ball. And Cozy Perry, he might have it figured out. And if he does, I mean, he looked decisive. He was going through his reads, which a lot of times, I mean, his first read was there. So, take that for what it's worth. But I think Brent Dearman's done a really good job with him. He just looks confident, and he looks calm. He's not, he wasn't rattled. He didn't try and do too much. He was just taking what the defense was giving him. And, I mean, shout out to them. They always have the athletes, and they've kind of needed that quarterback that can settle them down and really just be a point guard, because that's all you really got to be when you got athletes like that. So I thought he did a hell of a job. And one thing about Charlotte is I don't think they're as bad as it looked. Chris Reynolds has got to stop trying to jump over people, and because they need him on the field. When he's not on the field, they are a completely different team. And he was trying to just he's a fast kid, but you got to know when it's over and to get down and protect yourself. And I will say this, who did look good for Charlotte? Grant
Grant
DeBose.
DeBose.
What about that catch?
That guy is a manimal. Get him the ball in space. Even, I mean, that go ball, it was an offsides call. One of those, snap it and we're going to chuck and duck. He just went up and snagged it and took it the rest of the way. So if their defense can kind of settle in, stop giving up big plays, I think Charlotte's going to be okay, but didn't look too good in week 0.
Back to Cozy Perry, and I've been hard on him. He was the number 2 dual threat quarterback out of that high school class behind, I believe, Tua. And then of course he went to Miami, and he's always been. He'll have one game, and you're like, damn, this dude can play, and then he'll be sloppy one game. But hopefully, like you said, with Dearman down there, just get it under control a little bit. He's got the arm talent for sure.
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic looked like they were just on all their P's and Q's. They played, like, in my opinion, watching.
So you're saying Willie Taggart did a good job?
Willie Taggart did a fantastic job. Billy Taggart did an awesome job. As I said, I thought he was overrated and a piss poor coach. He had those guys ready to play, and Charlotte did not have their guys ready to play. That's just how it looked. I don't think I saw one mistake from FAU. They looked awesome.
How demoralizing do you think, either Jeff or Jesse, like, you go through camp and you're so confident going into the season, and then especially like if you're Charlotte's defense, you got a new defensive coordinator, you're probably fired up, you probably had a good camp, and then FAU bust that run on the first play of the game. I mean, what does that do? Yeah, go for it. May I? Please.
Just a quick 2-minute story time. And I think, Jeff, you were a senior this year, the year this happened. We had probably one of the hardest camps we ever had at MTSU. I'm talking about walkthroughs were just like regular practice. It felt like 3 days. 3 weeks of hell.
I know where you're going with this.
3 weeks of hell. And it was brutal. And it was one of the hottest summers. And we hosted McNeese State, a 1AA school, came to Middle Tennessee. They were good. They were a playoff squad, and we knew that we shouldn't overlook these guys. And we actually had a decent game, but these guys came in. We paid them to come play us, and they beat us. I think they beat us by a touchdown. It was demoralizing. I'm talking about, I remember sitting at one of our buddies' houses a few nights later just thinking, I mean, we did everything at camp. We did everything right. We played hard, and we still lost. But it was week 1. It was week 1.
That team had some athletes, though, on that.
They were really good. And I think they made the playoffs that year, too. But I'm saying we stuck together. We knew we had a good ball club. We came together after, that was a week 1 game. We ended up that year beating Georgia Tech. We ended up playing for the conference championship that year, going 8-4. So I still think Charlotte has a chance to, be good. They just got to come together. So it is demoralizing for sure, but just it was week 0.
One last point real quick. They were also, and this is credit to FAU and that big boy in the middle, Charlotte was one-dimensional because they could not run the ball. They could not get anything up the middle, whether it was inside zone. They hit a couple powers, but even those it would only be like a 7 or 8 yard gain. They had no big run plays on the ground. And when you are that and you are in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, it just makes it tough because now the defense can sit back and just wait for you to make a mistake.
Well, and Jeff, you as a quarterback can speak to this. Like, if you're a QB and you get that pressure right up the middle,
that's the
especially
hardest.
If you are an athlete, doesn't that make you just want to screw it, I'm gone, and just take off?
It's the hardest pressure, especially for a shorter guy, and that's what I was, and that's what Chris Reynolds is. He's not a tall guy; he's an athlete, likes to get on the outside, but that is the hardest pressure to deal with as a quarterback. It's right in your face, and a lot of times it's not even that they're actually on you, but it feels like they're on you, and that makes you get out of the pocket a second quicker, makes you throw the ball, a hair, too soon where the guy might not be out of the break. That is the hardest pressure to deal with as a quarterback, is right in your face up the gut.
Guy, I can't wait to hear you doing that on the radio after every play for Middle Tennessee. That was great. Great work.
Appreciate it.
Hey, man, so week 0, a lot of good performances, a lot of performances that have some question marks, but I'm sure Charlotte will bounce back. They got William and Mary this week, so that should get them a dub. And then they got Maryland coming to town. But there are some gigantic chances for, we'll call them upsets. Not all of them are even, according to Vegas, going to be upsets. But here's the best games, Group of 5 versus Power 5. Let's start Central Michigan at Oklahoma State. What do you think? Oklahoma State's 21-point favorites in that. Central Michigan played that game close last year, and I want to say they beat them a year or two ago.
Central Michigan beat them. I think it was
With that Hail
2017.
with
It was
a
like
Hail Mary.
long Hail Mary. Yeah.
And a lateral. Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
think- what do you
in
think,
Central
Jess?
Michigan, they're coming back with a lot of talent, right? And I think Oklahoma State, a little research I've done, they got to replace a lot of key players on defense. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's a Friday night football game. High scoring. I am not going to give Central Michigan the win, but I think that CMU will not get beat by more than 21 points. I think Oklahoma State's going to be about 17, but it's going to be off of a late score also in the end. I think it's going to be a close ball game throughout the whole 4 quarters. So I'll take CMU in the points, but Oklahoma State probably by 17.
Tip.
Yeah, I agree with the Swag Bear. I think this is going to be a close game. I think Lou Nichols is going to have an incredible game. But I think Central Michigan falls short. 10, 17 points. So I'm with Jesse on that. I think Central Michigan covers the 21 points.
It'd be a good test for Lou Nichols and that run game, Oklahoma State in that first week, to see what they're going to be about. Murph, you think they got a shot?
I think they got a shot. I think the biggest thing is they have to be able to throw the ball somewhat because they're going to pound Lou Nichols. So if they're one-dimensional and Oklahoma State just decides I'm going to stack the box and make somebody else beat you, you got to be able to win some one-on-one matchups on the outside. So I'm looking to see how that quarterback does when he gets those one-on-one matchups because you're going to get a heavy dose of Lou Nichols. So, yeah. But I like Central Michigan in the points.
What I hope happens, and this is for all these games when it's a 3-score spread like this, I hope that these group of 5 coaches play to win these games and don't play to keep it close.
Yeah.
It drives me absolutely crazy when they do that. If they're down, if they're down 21 at the start of the 4th quarter, I hope they don't just say, all right, Lou Nichols, let's just run the clock out. So that being said, that's where you risk that, 10, 14-point game becoming 21, 28 real quick if you start trying to get too risky. But it's worth a shot to win. I'm right there with y'all. I think a little closer than 21. I don't think Central Michigan can win.
I like the coach. I like the coach for Central Michigan. I mean, I think I don't like the take that they're going to go in there trying not to lose. I think every team we're going to talk about is going there to win. But
no, I hope so. Virginia Tech on the road at Old Dominion. They're giving Old Dominion plus 8.5 right now. I mean, so y'all know I like Old Dominion, but Jess, I'm gonna go to you first on this.
I see myself already. It's Friday night. I'm at River Street Ale House. I am having a good time with some adult beverages, probably with some App State fans, and I am going shit crazy watching Old Dominion take it to Virginia Tech. I think Hayden Wolf has an explosive game. And I think that it's going to be a great Friday night environment at Old Dominion. Virginia Tech has a new head coach, I believe, coming in. So why not? Last year, 5 group of 5 teams upset Power 5 teams. Group of 5 teams are just getting better. Power 5 teams we're making that the stacks getting closer together. There's not a lot of gaps there in talent anymore. So I'm going to take the upset on this one. But betting wise, ODU plus 8.5, I'm taking it, and I think Old Dominion actually might get away with a W. So
you want to know what's going to make that scenario so much more fun that you guys don't know this, but so Trip, our boy from Twitter, I met him in Lafayette, Stu's buddy. His girlfriend is a Virginia Tech alum.
Oh gosh.
So he's already been texting me like, we gotta watch the Old Dominion Virginia Tech game. Little does he know.
Oh, we're gonna go. We're gonna watch.
She's about to walk into a hostile Old Dominion environment.
I might try to bring out my Old Dominion shirt a little tight and see if I can wear it there Friday night at App State.
Tip, what do you think on that one?
I'm with Swag Bear again. I'm going with the upset. We're going with Old Dominion. They're returning 17 starters. They started last season 1-5, but then finished 5-1. So I think they're going to carry that momentum here into this season. And Virginia Tech has never won a game at SB Ballard Stadium.
I saw that too.
Murph, what do you think?
I'm hopping on the train. I'm gonna be honest. I thought this was gonna
this
go.
Isn't a good sign, guys.
Virginia Tech. I thought Virginia Tech was honestly good, but you guys got me sold. I'm going ODU. Win it.
Wow.
Money line.
Some group of 5 teams have got to win this weekend, and that one just seems really reasonable.
Listen, another round of ammunition in this weapon here. Old Dominion. It's their first game as new members of the new Sun Belt. That place is going to be cranked up. It's a Friday night. Only show in town.
What,
Look out.
second week of school?
Look out for the
Something like that?
Monarchs.
Don't they do like whiteouts too at Old Dominion?
I think they did one a couple years ago versus Virginia Tech when they beat
Look
Virginia
out.
Tech.
Hope they do
I,
one Friday
I
night.
remember the little touchdown celebration. The two receivers did the between the legs dunk celebration. Look out for that again.
Yep.
Big one. Big one. Maybe the second biggest one of the weekend. NC State going to Dowdy-Ficklin. ECU. You got NC State minus 11 on this one. NC State, what are they ranked? What do they got in preseason ranked? What are they, 12? Something like that?
Shoot.
I know they're
top 15,
I know
yeah.
they're extremely overrated, but anyway. Jess, what do you think? We went 3 for 3 to start this off. I don't think you like this one.
No, I hate this one. This is the exact opposite of how I feel about Old Dominion because I think NC State is not overrated. I think they are very, very good. I think they were overlooked last year because they lost 2 games in the fourth quarter by less than 4 points. So this team is very, very talented on offense, very talented on defense, having like 8 starters return. I'm sorry, ECU. I know it's at home. You're probably going to have that stadium full blasted, and y'all are going to be hype. It's going to be a lot of alcohol involved. Fans are going to be having a good time. I think NC State shuts y'all up real quick. I think NC State's going to roll over ECU.
Tip.
If Keaton Mitchell and Raji Harris can have a good game, and if they can control the clock on offense and not turn the ball over, that's about the only, that's the only chance they have, in my opinion, of winning this week. NC State's a good team. I mean, they are a good team
at all.
ECU's a good team too, and I mean, they just have to. I don't know if ECU's defense can stop NC State, so I think NC State wins. But I honestly, the line they're favored by 11, so I could see ECU keeping this within 10 points.
Murph?
Here's the recipe that needs to happen. They need to pound the rock. Holton Ahlers needs to do a good job of protecting the ball and keeping NC State's offense on the sideline. If they can do that and keep NC State's defense on the field, sustain long drives, and limit the NC State's possessions, they can hang around to the fourth quarter and steal it. Do I think that's going to happen? I think it's a tall task. I think it's tough. I'm going to take NC State to win. But if they can do that, anything can happen at home, man. That place is going to be rocking. I can't wait to watch the stadium and just see how rowdy it's going to get.
I do not bet as much as these guys do. I would not bet on this game.
Yeah, I'd stay away.
This is one where you literally could see it go either way. If it's close, I like ECU. I like their crowd. I like their run game. But it is a situation where I don't know why, but it reminds me, Murph, y'all remember when Georgia Tech came to Murfreesboro?
Yeah.
And it was like the greatest crowd in the history of Murfreesboro, and they threw a bomb on the first play of the game, and we were like,
flipped me off on the sidelines. It was real classic.
Oh, boy.
They were.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe that's why I feel – I'm not talking crap about ECU. I've just been there. I've seen it, and it's just like
and you know Georgia Tech wasn't that much better than us because we beat the hell out of them the following year, but it was just like – it's just you let 1 or 2 plays, and then the crowd gets out of it, and then sidelines demoralized. I don't know. I mean, I think 11's it's about right if you ask me. Here's one where Group of 5 team is a favorite. Arizona at San Diego State. First game in Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego State Aztecs. Best helmets in football. Jess, what do you think?
Best helmets in football. First game in the new stadium. One of the better Mountain West teams. Just straight up, I think San Diego State wins this game. -6, yeah, give it to me. I like the spread.
Tip.
Yeah, Arizona is a very young team with not a lot of experience. San Diego State has an elite defense, and I'm excited to watch this Virginia Tech QB transfer Braxton Burmeister play. I got San Diego State winning at the new stadium, and they cover the 6 points.
Murph?
I'm right there with you. I can't wait to see this quarterback too. Is he the missing piece that can take the Aztecs to where they want to go? I think he may be. That defense is going to be ready to go. I think they cover the 6, if you ask me.
I like this game a lot. San Diego State, they have the little deal with the punter right now. Some media attention, some unwanted media attention on San Diego State right now. I think this is where Brady Hoke gets them together, says, let's tune everything out. It's just us. Everybody's rooting against us. And I think they win that game handily. But I think that is key for their season, though, is they're going to have to tune out a lot of noise because the longer this thing goes, the more media. They're going to have ESPN down there at practice, not to watch a really good football team, but to try and, discourage some of these guys that probably didn't have anything to do with what the punter and some other guys allegedly had to do with. Cincinnati going to Arkansas. Arkansas 6-point favorites. And keep in mind, these lines have been moving. So these lines I got yesterday, so they could be a point or two off by now. Cincinnati +6 on the road versus Arkansas, both in the top 25. Jess, what do you think on this?
Oh, so Cincinnati's +6?
Yeah, Arkansas's favorite.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll be quite honest with you. It's going to be determined on who the quarterback is. If Ben Bryant is quarterbacking for Cincinnati, I say they're probably going to get pounded on. Evan Prater, like that guy. If Evan Prater starts Cincinnati, yeah, a possible upset. But they haven't named a starter yet, from what I understand. So if Ben Bryant's the guy, yeah, take Arkansas. If Evan Prater's the guy, take Cincinnati.
Tip.
I think since he's just lost too many key starters from last year's team, I think it's going to hurt him in this matchup. It's a tough game to start out with when you got that many new starters. So I think Arkansas is going to win this game by 3, 6, 7 points. It's gonna be a close game, but I think Arkansas wins.
Murph.
Yeah, I'm with Tip. If it was in Cincinnati, I would probably pick the Bearcats, but I think going to Arkansas, that crowd's going to be fired up. They're like every other bottom-feeding SEC team. The first game of the season, they're back. They're winning the conference, so that'll be a packed house. But I think that Arkansas wins. I think
Arkansas was
cover
good
the
last
6.
Year. Sorry to interrupt you, Jeff. They
were okay.
Good.
That's what you do. But
if
I really do that a lot. I know.
Yeah, you do. If you were gonna pull for an SEC school, I think Arkansas would be the one to do it, dude. Their head coach, what's Sam Pittman? I like the guy a lot, and I think he's the reason why I think that they're gonna stay relevant. That being said, Cincinnati, yeah, they got a bunch of new guys, but they do have that O-line, and that's usually the missing piece when you go against an SEC type school is the O-line, D-line, and Cincinnati sure as hell has that. I think that's another one I wouldn't touch, not in week 1. Give me the Bearcats, though. Let me go out on a limb here and take Cincinnati. I think O-line, I think run game, and I think their defense is still really, really good. Jesse, I think you tweeted this the other day. Troy at Ole Miss. Ole Miss 3-touchdown favorites at 22. What do you got on that?
It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying Ole Miss is a bad ball club, and we all love Lane Kiffin, but I'm in love with that Troy defense, and that's why I think it's a slap in the face. I just don't think they did enough research to understand that, like, it might be an Ole Miss power god SEC school, but I think Troy, that's going to fire them up. I'm not saying Troy's going to win the game, but I have no way, shape, or form think they're going to get blown out by Ole Miss Rebels. I think it's going to be a really close game. That Troy defense is going to show out. Ole Miss may win, might be by 10 or so, but it ain't going to be by 22 points.
Tip.
Yeah, this is going to be a good game to see how good Troy's defense is going to be. Troy's offense might start off a little slow, with new quarterback coming in there late in camp. So they might have some trouble scoring some points, but we've seen firsthand how good this Troy defense is. So over-under right now, that game is 58 points. Give me the under.
Under. Murph, what do you think on that one?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat that you guys are. I mean, all the sentiments that you're echoing, I think that it's going to be a good test for that defense. We'll see how good it is. They're probably going to try and spread them out pretty good, but I don't think Ole Miss beats them by 22.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Tip. This is an awesome test for Troy's defense. I mean, you get Lane Kiffin, he's creative, he doesn't hold back either. So, he's going to be running, all his plays in that game. I don't see. I mean, we talked about Troy. I know it's Ole Miss. I know, like you said, it's the SEC. We talked about Troy holding teams to 20 points a game. So, I mean, unless they
the offense is what
well, I
concerns
said 12,
me the
but that was
most.
an exaggeration. Yeah, I'm looking. Doji is not going to start. Looks like Gunnar Watson's going to start the first game, but I think the other guy's going to end up being the quarterback. So that scares me a little bit about Troy's offense. I mean, I could see this game being, 27-3. So I mean, but I do think Troy's defense is going to be. I think Ole Miss is going to leave that game feeling like, damn, we just played some men out there. Another interesting one: Memphis at Mississippi State. Memphis won this game in Memphis last year. Mississippi State 14-point favorites. Jesse, what do you got?
It's easy for me to say I don't know because I really don't know in this game because I'm just going to talk as a former player. If I'm a Mississippi State Bulldog, I'm fired up for this game after the atrocious loss that happened last year off of 2 really bad calls that lost me money, and the referee should have been fired for both. What was it? A fair catch. The guy returned for a touchdown.
No, he dropped.
He touched it. No, he
it.
needed it. He needed it, ran for a touchdown, and that was a bad kick and whatever. But on the other hand, so Mississippi State's be fired up. I'm sure Leach is giving all kind of pirate, examples on how to steal corn and beat Memphis. But Memphis, on the other hand, they are going into Mississippi State to be like, hey, we beat them last year. Why not again this year? So I'm going back and forth on it. I'm going to give the win to Mississippi State. And I feel like I'm repeating myself. I don't think they cover, though. I think this is actually going to be a really close game all the way to the fourth quarter. Mississippi State wins by like 7.
Tip.
I think there's one reason why Mississippi State's going to win this game, and it's because Calvin Austin III is no longer playing for the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah.
He's now on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last year's game, Calvin Austin III had 9 catches, 105 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, and the infamous 94-yard punt return in that game. So 3 total touchdowns. I think that right there is the reason why Mississippi State wins. I still think Memphis can keep it close and probably within the 14 points, but I think Mississippi State wins.
Murph.
Tip, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly why Mississippi State's going to win this game. They win by 14, maybe. As a game I'd stay away from, betting-wise.
No doubt.
Yeah. I probably stay away from all these games
until
Friday night until Friday night
Yeah.
at 6:59, right before Virginia Tech and ODU kick off.
The Hawaii Vanderbilt game last Saturday night has really just shooketh me for what I thought I knew. I don't know.
Yeah, that was bad. No, I agree with all you guys on that one. Memphis, Memphis was so close to being like this Cincinnati or Houston like 2-3 years ago, and they just never got over the hump, and it kind of seems like they're falling off a little bit. So I'm right there with you. I love Georgia State. Sorry, I'll go.
You had a Jesse Grissom.
I have a deviated septum.
Yeah, I heard you. I hear you. Respect, brother. Georgia State, South Carolina, they're minus 12.5 point
yes,
favorites.
they are.
What do you say, Jess? Sprouse, as much as we talk about Georgia State and how we think they're underdogs this year, or dark horses, I think South Carolina is going to take it to Georgia State, to be quite honest. I'm taking South Carolina minus 12.5.
Tip.
I want to pick Georgia State so bad because I just don't think Spencer Rattler is that good of a
That's
quarterback.
right, Jesse. Did you
Oh,
forget?
hang on, rewind.
No, you already had your piece.
Spencer Rattler is at South Carolina.
I forgot about that.
Since when?
God, no, yeah. Well, either way, go. Might as well.
Okay, well, I honestly, I really do think Georgia State keeps this close and close in the second half. But I think South Carolina they're going to have too much. They just have too much depth at the key positions. So I think South Carolina ends up winning.
Murph.
I think Georgia State, didn't they go into another SEC team down there and beat them on their own turf? I'm going Georgia State, baby. I'm taking them. Spentler Rattler's a bum.
Spentler.
Spent whatever the hell the guy's name is, taking Georgia State.
If y'all remember last year, it was Tulane that rattled Spencer Rattler in week 1, and their quarterback outplayed him. Darren Granger, Georgia State. Georgia State outplayed Auburn for the entire game until I don't remember what it was. It was like a 4th and 1. I don't know, bad timeout or something that they did. Lost the game against Auburn. Year before that, they went into Tennessee and beat Tennessee with a different quarterback, Dan Ellington, who's now on the sidelines for Georgia State. Give me Darren Granger and the Panthers, although I do like South Carolina as a above-average SEC school this year. I like Shane Beamer, so that's something to really be proud of, South Carolina. If you're a South Carolina fan, you're in the top half, man. Awesome life. Right above 50%.
Go Cox. Good for
Congratulations to you guys. Yeah, awesome.
Sprouse, we need to check on Prize Picks and see what the over-under is for Spencer Rattler turnovers, because I would take the over.
Yeah, all of them. All of the turnovers. Probably transfer halfway through the game. Jesse, more of a...
Well, they didn't talk... Well, last year he was on the cover of every milk carton that was in Walmart. Now everybody's like, maybe he'll be good at South Carolina.
Was he on the side of the milk carton because it was like he's missing?
Yeah, he was. He was on the magazine's preseason. He was on the milk cartons halfway through the year.
Hopefully he got humbled a little bit. I mean, hopefully a little bit.
Some humble pie.
Doesn't seem like it. Jesse, who is more of a coward, Spencer Rattler or Ben Bryant?
Ben Bryant.
Wow.
Come on.
If Spencer Rattler goes back to Oklahoma next year, then Spencer Rattler gets it. But I'm going to say Spencer Rattler to South Carolina.
No, he's not going to go back to Oklahoma because Dylan Gabriel's better than Spencer Rattler ever thought about being. All right.
Somebody said Tate Martell. I feel like he should be in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
No, UNLV's good. The according to Big T and Brandon Walker, the fraud Boise State, they're at Oregon State, team they've beaten many a time. They're 3-point underdogs on the road. Oregon State was a little better last year than they've been recently. Jess, what do you got in this one?
Make it quick. So I said earlier that last year group of 5 teams beat Power 5 programs. So far, I picked Virginia Tech beat Old Dominion, Arizona beat San Diego State. I also have Boise State beating Oregon State. I think it's a no-brainer. So I'm going to go with Boise State, and I think they cover.
Tip.
Oh, sorry. The cover is at Oregon State, so obviously they cover. Yeah. They're going to beat Oregon State by 10
points. State money line, baby. Yeah. Tip, what do you got?
The Pac-12 is overrated. Oregon State had an average defense last year, a below-average pass defense. Oregon State's good at running the ball, but Boise State has an elite defense. Give me Boise State and give me the Boise State money line at plus 125.
Ooh-wee.
That's probably a late night kickoff, boys. So Saturday after we're tuned up from a day in Boone. Remember that one.
This is me right here. Just locked it in.
What does the 0.5 mean?
How can they win?
Do they
by
count interceptions and turnovers?
Murph, what do you think on that one?
You know what? Since Zeke's not here, I'm going to take his line. The potato poppers, baby. I want to see Bachmeier. I want to see this guy be the guy that he's supposed to be for Boise State. Stay healthy. Beat Oregon State first game of the season.
Yeah, give me Boise and give me the entire Mountain West top to bottom over the Pac-12 every day of the week. No questions asked. Give me Boise on that. Skip the one we're going to be at. Interesting one. Miami of Ohio at Kentucky. I might have added that on here a little late because it intrigued me. What do you guys think on that? 17.5 points for Kentucky on that.
It intrigues me as well. I think Kentucky, though, I think they know how good Miami, Ohio is. I don't think they're going to overlook Miami, Ohio. Brett Gabbert, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the country, if you ask me. So I think Kentucky's going to go there prepared. I have Kentucky winning the game, but Miami, Ohio keeping the points. So close.
Tip.
Kentucky was 126 out of 130 teams last year in turnover margin.
Here we go.
That could keep Miami of Ohio in this game. I do think it will be single-digit points. Like I think Kentucky or Miami, Ohio is going to be up at halftime by single digits. I think Kentucky kind of pulls away a little bit in the second half. But I'd probably stay away from it betting wise. But I like Miami of Ohio to cover the 17.5.
Murph?
Jesse, let me get your answer. It's Tipton. All the stats. Jesse.
Yeah, can I just say it's great? Like whenever I go to Tipton and he just starts out like that, Kentucky was 120 with a stat. It just I get my
That's
arm
good
hair
stuff.
starts sticking up.
Makes
Yeah,
your nipples
great.
hard. I
It
hear you.
does. It does. Murph, what do you think on that one?
Yeah, I think Miami of Ohio, they can score points. They're going to be able to hang around in this game. I'm going to take Kentucky because they're at home, but I take the points.
Yeah, I think Kentucky wins this game. I think after this game, that game's probably on SEC Network. You're gonna hear a lot of people start talking about Brett Gabbert as an NFL guy after this game. This is how these guys, these games and bowl games is when you're like, wow, who's that guy? We've been talking about him all summer, but it's gonna be a coming out party for him and Mac Hippenhammer.
That would be a good one, Sprouse, for your prize picks. I bet he's probably
I gotta see
at
what he's
least two
at. Touchdown and a half or something,
Yeah.
probably. I gotta look at that one and see. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Guys, last one of the Group of 5 versus Power 5, the game we will be at. What is supposed to be the largest event in the history of whatever county Boone, North Carolina is called. This line has moved. This line, I looked at this on Sunday. It was North Carolina -2. Then I looked at it on the time of this recording in the morning. It was even. And then it went back to, I think, North Carolina +2 or -2. I think that's where it's at right now. North Carolina -2.
It's at -1 right now.
-1. So this thing is just going back and forth. I mean, it reminds me of 3 o'clock in the morning. You're watching the election results. You're just watching it. You don't know. It's even, it's even, it's even. And boom, 300,000 points go one way. But this, I mean, I cannot wait to see this. When they play hard in the paint before the first kickoff, I hope App State kicks off and they play hard in the paint and the student section is rocking. We're going to be rocking. There's going to be just a little sliver of baby blue, whatever you want to call it, Michael Jordan blue. I hope Michael Jordan's there too, so he can see this, see what real football is like.
He's probably got about $250K on the game.
He's probably what caused the line to move.
You know that he dumped a bunch of money on him.
One bet, him and Eric Church put a bet on North Carolina, and then Luke Combs slid back in there, put it on app. Anyway, in the interest of time, Jesse, what do you think on this ball game?
I think this game is the definition of college football. I've been to a lot of football games as a fan, from the largest of the large to the smallest of the small. This game, honestly, is one of the more excited I've been to watch in quite some time. App State could have been playing anybody in the top 25, with the exception of maybe one or two teams. I would like them because I think they're going to have that atmosphere, and it is going to be rocking, man. Talking to Coach Clark last week fired me up as well. I'm excited to see this offense, man. I'm excited to see this O-line show the Power 5 ACC D-line how to run the damn ball. I guarantee Jeep Wade is going to be running power all day. They're going to be running power all day. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I'm taking App State money line. They are going to win this ball game. Boone, North Carolina, turn up.
You think they charge the field if they win this game?
Yes, 1,000%. I'm on the goalpost.
You are. Yeah.
Someone's got to. I got.
And then the goalpost is coming down.
I think we carry the goalpost down King Street.
That's a very good question.
So when I went to the Sun Belt Championship 2 years ago at App, they stormed the field, which that wasn't like an upset or anything. I think they might.
Why would you ask that? If they storm the field for that, they're going to definitely storm the field at North Carolina against North Carolina.
Maybe not. They might be like, this is just expect. You know what I like about App State, and I like this about Coach Clark and Watts and all these guys, is Jeep. I can't speak for this because we know Jeep too well to know that he is not calm. But Coach Clark and Watts, and just like when we were there last year, they're just so calm on game day. And that's what I think is going to win this game for them, is I think they're just, hey, the fans are fired up. The city's fired up. The players are like, we're better than these boys. Let's line up and play. And the coaches are feeling that way too. Now, Jeep Wade, he is just, he has got his whiteboard. He may break 2 or 3 whiteboards on that sideline. Matter of fact, I think it was North Carolina that he did break the whiteboard for us.
Yeah, he broke 1 or 2 of them. Yeah.
But anyway, I just cannot wait y'all be inside that stadium by like 11:30. Warm-ups, everything. We got to be cranking that thing up. Tip, go to you. What do you think on this one?
I am so unbelievably excited for this game, and just to be up there in Boone for this. This atmosphere is about to be electric. I cannot wait. But Cam Peoples and Nate Noel are about to absolutely dominate and take over this game. I think the run game, App State's run game, is just going to take over in the second half. North Carolina is going to be exhausted on defense, and they're not going to. You're going to see Cam Peoples and Nate Noel both have long 50-plus yard touchdowns in the second half. I'm calling it right now.
Touchdowns, not stopping at the 5.
Correct. Touchdowns. No,
Okay.
This one, call it a rival, call it not a rival, but I mean, this is a massive game, and in App State, they all know that. Everyone on the coaching staff, the players, they all know it. I'm excited to see this speed at wide receiver that Coach Clark was talking about. I think Chase Bryce and the App State offense, they're going to control the clock. They're not going to turn the ball over. They're going to win this game by 10-plus points, and we're storming the field.
Murph, what do you think?
Let me just say, I've not been disappointed too many times in my life, but I'm upset that I'm missing this one. But I know you guys will hold it down. In my honor and spirit, App State is going to win this game. And here's the thing. I think North Carolina thinks that they're going to try and come out and pound the rock. I think they're going to play a little chess, not checkers, homie. Chase Bryce is going to have himself a day. They are going to play action and go deep with these unnamed receivers. But they are going to press the field vertical to stretch it, which will loosen those guys up, and then you get the closers, Nate Noel, Cam Peoples, to finish it off. App State, money line.
Jeff, can you do the App State Nation the biggest favor you could ever do for them?
Yeah.
Can you please direct message Chase Bryce and start talking shit to him? Please. For the fans out there that may just now be listening, last year, after the Marshall game, Jeff Murphy was giving Chase Bryce some coaching advice on how to.
I don't remember any of this. So it didn't happen.
Single high safety.
I'm just saying, Chase Bryce, if he's listening now, he didn't have the best game against Marshall. He missed a lot of receivers down the field, and that's what Jeff was telling him. And then when they play Coastal Carolina, Chase Bryce, like a week or two later, Chase Bryce has the game of his life. I'm just saying, if you could just tonight just go in there.
Look,
QB whisperer, you got his ear, Jeff.
Look,
don't be overrated.
That guy doesn't need anything from me. I'm a has-been and never was. He's going to show up and be ready to beat the Tar Heels on Saturday.
I think so,
I
too.
can't wait to watch. I can't wait to watch it because I'm going to be driving and I'm going to have my phone on the dash, just watching the whole time.
God, it's going to be awesome. My dad was texting me, and he was like, I don't really care too much about this stuff anymore, but, like, I wish I was going to Boone with y'all. And I said, well, tickets are only $1,000.
Come on. Come on, Pop.
Oh, man. But, yeah, can't wait. So, real quick, we went a little long on those, but those are some awesome games. What a freaking great slate of Week 1 games.
We're back.
This is Christmas, man. I mean, I can't tell you how pumped I am. So you got a couple Group of 5 on Group of 5 non-conference games. Start Army at Coastal. Coastal 2.5-point favorites at home versus Army. Jesse, what do you got?
I'm gonna take Coastal. Just because of the home field advantage. I'll take Coastal on the points as well.
Tip.
This is a little scary first game for Coastal. Coastal defense. They need to control the line of scrimmage, and they got to make the correct reads against this Army offense. But I think Coastal's offense is too good. They can score quickly if the game's close in the second half. So I got Coastal at home.
Can I change my pick?
It's just so funny. I'm about to Tipton start. I mean, whatever. It's just part of the show. I just make a quick answer, and Tipton's like, "Well, here we go."
Murph, what do you think on that?
Tip, I'm thinking just like you. This game makes me nervous, but this is what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be very close with Army controlling the time of possession in the first half, but I think Coastal pulls away in the second. I think they have, unlike a lot of other teams, they have been preparing for this triple option for the last couple weeks, pretty much probably all at camp, because they know they cannot drop this game. If they drop this game, it's a bad way to start the season for Coastal. So I'm going to take Coastal, but look out. It's going to be close.
Yeah, I like that point about being able to work on the option in camp, give them an extra week. I think what hurts Coastal a little bit is you lose your 2 veteran linebackers. You gotta freaking play assignment football against that option, and if you don't, you're gonna get burned. But I agree with exactly what you said. I think Army's going to control the clock in the first half. I think Coastal's defense will figure it out as the game goes along. And McCall and the offense is too good. They can come back if they're down. And I think they got the potential to wear out once they figure out Army's offense. The Coastal offense will be on the field and wear out Army's defense, and they'll win that game. This is going to be the one I'm going to bet on. I'm going to tell you right now, boys. SMU at North Texas. North Texas 10.5-point dogs. Jesse?
You can give me the stats all you want, Tits, but here's the deal. My 2 most favorite dark horse teams in the group of 5 right now is Eastern Michigan. They're green teams, Eastern Michigan and North Texas. North Texas last week, because of how they played, I'm taking them, man. I'm taking money line. I think they're going to beat SMU. Them boys are good. I think SMU's going to go in there a little excited. And North Texas, are they going to have the receivers back, Sprouse?
That I do not know.
No, who knows? They don't even need them. I'm going to go North Texas, man. Throw it all over SMU. Take the points and the over. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of fireworks.
Bring him back
Tip.
home, Tip.
Okay, I mean, so SMU here, they.
No, I mean, like, obviously, like, North Texas looked really good in week 0. But, I mean, just my honest opinion, I think SMU is a better football team than UTEP. So I think SMU wins this. It's a close game. So I'd take North Texas the plus 10.5.
Are they 21 points better than UTEP? Because that's what North Texas beat UTEP by.
Well, okay. Well, SMU's run defense, I feel like, is better than UTEP's. I mean, just once North Texas realized, I mean, they basically do whatever they wanted to on offense against UTEP. And once they were able to just run the ball down their throat, then I mean the game was essentially over. And I think the final score wasn't really. I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like,
I definitely get what you're saying. I'm just saying. I've been saying it since the beginning of the preseason that Austin Owen is going to be the best player for North Texas and be Conference USA Player of the Year. So. I didn't say that, by the way.
I was going to say, didn't you say the other guy was going to be starting?
Yes, that's what's so funny about it.
Murphy,
Gunno, that's who it was. Gunno, I thought was going to be the guy.
One name, Tanner Mordecai. I think that SMU is a really good football team. I think they're a whole lot better, like Tip said, than UTEP. And I think the game is going to be completely different. There's week 0 tape on North Texas that SMU has, where North Texas doesn't have that to look at SMU. So I think when you look at how this game's going to go out, I think SMU is going to get up, and you can't run the ball like you did against UTEP when you're down by 2-3 scores. I think SMU wins, and I think they cover that spread.
SMU won this game last year 35-12. It was 7-6 at halftime. Ulysses Bentley ran for 141 yards on 10 carries. Austin Owen did not get the start. He only threw 4 passes in that game. Give me a really close game. Give me the points with North Texas on this game. I love North Texas, and I think I don't know if you were still there, Murph, but I know, Jesse, we went to that stadium. They've got great facilities, and they're winning ball games, that stadium is built kind of in a weird way. It can be kind of loud, and I think they're going to be rocking this week. It's kind of a rivalry game. That town, Denton, Texas, is fired up. They think they got a good ball club this year. I like North Texas in the points. I wouldn't quite go on money line on that. I like it. I mean, I'm going to take it, but I wouldn't bet on that. Murph, the game you're calling. I have absolutely no idea on this game. Middle Tennessee at James Madison. Last I looked, James Madison 6.5-point favorites at home. Their first ever FBS game. Jesse Grisham, what do you think?
Middle Tennessee State, bad job scheduling a first game of the year. So James Madison, that place is going to be crazy for their first Division I game. Love you, Coach Stock. Love you, Blue Raiders. Jeff, good luck on your first game. But I'm taking James Madison. I'm taking James Madison in the points.
Tip, what do you think?
The last time MTSU was not favored in a group of 5 matchup, they beat Toledo in the Bahamas Bowl last year. Coach Stock's going to have those boys ready to play. MTSU's runs game with quarterback and running backs about to dominate. They win this one. Close game, but MTSU wins it.
Murph?
Chase Cunningham,
Cunningham
rolls in to JMU. MTSU, they're going to win. And not just because I'm wearing their shirt, not because I'm calling the game. I think that Coach Stock is going to have these guys ready. I got to see a scrimmage a couple weeks back. MTSU is bigger, and this is just size-wise, strictly looking at them, up front and on the outsides that they've been in a long time. They have length on the outside that Chase did not have last year. They got Jalen Lane coming back, who is an incredible punt returner. He's a great slot receiver. And they got the transfer running back that came in from that was Lou Nichols' backup, and he looks really good. So I'm taking MTSU money line. They're gonna win. Start the season 1-0.
I may change my pick if I saw. No, if I saw. No. I'm not changing it right now. I probably would have changed my pick if I would have seen a fall camp practice. Last time I saw these guys was back in April, and it looked bad.
I literally saw you changing your mind, Jesse, right as Murph was talking. I saw it in your head. You were changing.
No. I think MTSU is going to have I think they'll make a bowl game. That's what Rick Stock still does. He will make a bowl game. But that schedule is
it's brutal. Their first 6 is brutal.
It's brutal. And just something about James Madison. I know nothing about this school, really. I just have a feeling that with the tradition they have and they're going to be entering the FBS, I think it's going to be an environment MTSU is going to be like, oh, shit. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy.
I'll give a full report the following episode week. It's going to be packed. Everything that I've heard about this school is that they show up for their team. Like you said, it's the first D1 game. And they're a well-coached team. They lost some pieces last year that are going to be tough to replace, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see them because they're a newcomer and we've never really seen them. So I'm excited to get a chance to watch them.
If Coach Stock watches this show a lot, he probably gets really pissed off at me because I rarely pick the MTSU Blues, but it might work in their favor. Every time I pick against them, they win. So
well, Jesse, I didn't tell you. Me and him had a conversation about you a couple weeks back, and he was not too happy with you.
Yeah, it's normal. That's about it.
What scares me for Middle's sake in this game? What'd you say? What?
Serious?
Text me after Joe.
Murph, your phone is going to be ringing as soon as we get off of this thing. Did Coach Stock really say something about me?
What is
what scares me about Middle in this is I think they're going to end up being okay. You talk about all the size because, when we saw them in the spring, all of that size was in shorts and T-shirts. So it's a lot of new pieces, So it might take a minute. And I just have no idea on James Madison. I wouldn't touch it. I want to pick Middle because I do think like this might be the only time all season when Middle should have more talent on the field than James Madison, just due to, James Madison's been recruiting FCS guys for the last, forever. So I think it might take a year or two for James Madison to get some transfers and get some recruits that are a little bit better. But God, I don't like it at all. I do not like it at all. Big game, maybe the biggest game. Group of 5 on Group of 5. Houston at UTSA. State of Texas this week. SMU at North Texas. Houston at UTSA.
Mm-hmm.
Big time game here. UTSA is 4-point dogs at home. Jesse, what do you got?
I think Houston's the best Group of 5 school outside of Fresno State. So I'm taking Houston to. I think they're going to take it to UTSA. So Tipton, what do you think? UTSA by 21? Give me the reasons why.
Yeah, Tip. What do you got?
I'm going with Houston in this game. This is going to be a very high-scoring back-and-forth game. This is going to remind me a lot of the game me, Murph, and Zeke went to last year, UTSA, actually, at Western Kentucky. That game was just back and forth the whole game. And I can see this being exactly like that. Tank Dell is going to have a great game. Zachary Franklin also going to have a great game. They're both going to over 100 yards, touchdown or two, both guys. extremely high scoring game. I don't even know what the over under is. Take the over. I got Houston winning this one. Close game.
Murph.
God bless you. May the devil miss
Thanks,
you. The Alamo Dome is going to be packed to the brim. That environment is going to be incredible. But I'm with you, Tip. Take the over. It's going to be a high scoring game. And I'm going to be honest, I think you got the two best duos, possibly quarterback receiver duos in college football at this game right here. So I'm going to take Houston in a very, very close game. It's going to show what UTSA is made out of real quick.
Yeah. I thought for sure Murph and Tip were both going to go UTSA in this one. I got Houston. I got Houston going to the New Year's Six for the Group of Five this year. I think shootout though. You're exactly right. Clayton Tune, Tank Dell, and Sakari Franklin, and I'm drawing a blank on
Frank Harris.
Yeah, Frank Harris. Shootout, but I think Houston's too much. They got too much. You see Houston, they got Paul Wall and Bun B that
was
raps
tight,
on.
dude. That was tight.
Oh, geez. Remember when Houston rap? I mean, Jesse, you probably don't know anything about this. I know Murph does. Tip might. Houston had that run of rap. Paul Wall, Mike Jones.
He's the guy that sings Grills, right?
One of, yeah.
Yeah, heard that one before. When it's grill, go grill. So I cook out a lot, and I sing that song all the time.
So I want to go any other games. And there's so many games. I can't wait to hit my Prize Picks entry this week because I've already been looking at it, and I'm trying not to get carried away and do an entry every night. I'm trying to just take it slow, learn the ropes a little bit, keep it a group of 5 guys only. But again, if you do daily fantasy, use our code GOFG, acronym for Group of 5 Guys, up to $100, 100% match on your first deposit. But a lot of good players to look out for.
Does it matter if you're uppercase or lowercase?
It does not. It does not matter. So, yeah. And then we do have the link, too. So you can just follow the link, and it should work. But the code's nice and easy on that. But
and that helps us. That helps us travel and do everything, that we want to do and make this show get to where I think everybody in the Group of 5 wants it to be. So
Just curious, who's Texas State got this weekend?
Nevada.
Yeah, pick them.
Nevada.
Yeah,
take Texas State.
Yeah, that line is crazy to me. I mean, Nevada
They didn't look good this
good.
past weekend.
No, Nevada didn't look
they
good.
lost,
We're
they
all
got
high
gutted.
on Texas State. Yeah, people, we may be the only ones that are real high on Texas State right now, and maybe, Jesse, I know you've said it a couple times. Maybe we're just like blinded by the great time we had and by like the relationship we've built with some of those guys. But I mean, we're talking about them competing to win the Sun Belt. So give me them over Nevada all day.
Are they at Nevada?
They're at Nevada. They are at Nevada, which is interesting.
Well, Nevada, they just did not look good. And the head coach of Nevada, the whole time on the sidelines, just looked confused. So it was pretty funny to watch. No, I mean, Nevada's going to be they're rebuilding. Take Texas State, man. I mean, y'all sold me on them, and if they win this game, that's going to be a huge morale booster going into the fall conference.
I'll say this too, and this is, I mean, they're going to beat them. They should beat them, but I can't wait to see them with the Bulldogs of Fresno State. I want to see Jake Haener in this offense put up some points.
What are they? Who do they got?
I think they got Cal Poly.
Cal Poly, yeah.
Next week they got USC, right?
I think they go Oregon State,
3, I think,
then
USC.
at USC. Oregon State at home.
State's going to get 2 Group of 5 losses back to back.
0-2.
Yup. I'll tell you what I'm looking for.
That, Brandon? This
is an interesting game. BYU is at USF, South Florida, and I've been high on the Bulls all summer. I like South Florida. I like the quarterback Bohannon, the Baylor transfer. I mean, he was a good player at Baylor last year. I want to see. I'm not ready to pick them to beat BYU. But I want to just see how they come out. I think they're going to be a lot better this year, and that's a great, great test week 1.
No doubt.
And then the other one I'm looking at, it should be a win, but I'm ready to see FIU's offense too, man. I'm ready to see big time Chambers. They're playing FCS Bryant, out of what are they in Northeast Conference, I believe. But I just want to see. I want to see all these guys that we've been high on, just should be wins, but let's just come out, put it together. That's what I'm ready to see. Any tip you got any you're looking at?
Yeah, there's one. It's two teams that played last week, and neither one looked too great. But you got Western Kentucky traveling out to Hawaii this week. Austin Reed and Western Kentucky's offense started looking better in the second half against Austin Peay, and I think that momentum will carry over to this game at Hawaii. They're favored by 16 points, and I think they cover that.
Yeah, neither of those teams looked very good.
I will say this though, Hawaii's student section, they showed up.
Yeah, they were rocking.
They were hyped and for that Vandy game. I didn't go anywhere near the way they wanted it to, but keep showing up for those guys, man. They haven't had a crowd in like 2 years.
I tweeted about this. The Haka, okay? How long do you think they spend preparing for that thing? Now, I'm just what I'm going to say here is, I mean, because you got guys on that team that are not from Hawaii, that are not Hawaiian or Samoan or anything. I mean, do you imagine if they recruited one of us? We'd have to learn that thing.
Yeah.
How many periods of practice do they waste learning a pregame dance that, let me just say, is not that intimidating anymore? It probably is when the Samoan rugby team comes out there, playing a bunch of European guys. They're like, oh, shit. They are about to – these like kind of warriors. But it's like, I don't know, man. I don't – it bothered me. I saw it. And then they came out hot, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they got their ass kicked by Vanderbilt, and I was just like, dude, maybe you don't need to learn the Haka. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Some of the dudes on that team probably are pretty intimidating. I mean, they got some big O-line right guards. The Samoans with their hair all the way down to the back. They're like, I'm telling you, I'd be like.
That's exactly what it looked like, Jess. That was a really good job.
And I saw like one on Hard Knocks or something. A guy that played ball from Hawaii. He had one of his his rookie performances. He had to do the Hawaiian Moana dance, whatever. And it was very intimidating. Okay, that was
Moana, the kids
what
movie
can I
with
say?
Dwayne Johnson.
Oh man, I wish I knew what the song was.
That's terrible.
It finds me. No one knows.
Oh, hey, guys, before we go, if you guys like the show, make sure you hit like and subscribe. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of your podcast platforms for the podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Group of Five Guys. Later on in the week, we got Jay Vandy, or Joff, who is a fantastic, responsible bettor. He's going to come on and give us some tips, hopefully give me some novice, how do I bet? I don't know. How do I make some money this season? So that's going to be later on in the week. That'll be pretty good, especially to get us going in week 1. We will see y'all in a couple of days. Boone, North Carolina. Get ready.
See you on Friday, Boone.